why it's so hard to be yourself. So are you a little tired? Don't worry, because now you can have a little rest, because my speech is with no knowledge, just stories about mine. Okay? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Shanghai High School International Division. And thank you for being here today. I know for many of you, today feels light and joyful because a beautiful holiday is waiting ahead. But for me, today is deeply challenging because this is my very first time giving an English speech. Actually, I held an English meeting without the help of my assistant. It was 5 years ago. So that's why I take my draft in my hand. As a managing partner of a law firm, for the past few years, I've held the Dream Job Lawyer project for our students. Okay, you can see yourself? Yes, you come here. And beyond that, some of you have met with me privately, arranged by your parents, to talk about your futures, your plans. And you open up, sharing your confusions and perspectives and questions inside you. And I listened. You placed an incredible trust in me. And through this, we built trust and we've built friendship. So when Teresa invited me here to TEDx, I can feel the weight of it. Honestly, I have not enough time to get prepared. So that's why I get the draft in my hand. But I knew one thing clearly, that is, I have to be a real me in front of you. Because today, you are the host. You are my guide. And you will lead me as I journey back to share my perspectives and my stories about why it's so hard to be yourself. I was born in a small town of China. Even today, there's no train station, no airport. Back in 2001, when I was in 8th grade, the moment I enjoyed most was watching a TV program. So, okay, you can turn the PPT to the, oh, just stay at here, okay? Okay, I think Teresa forgot to give the new PPT, okay? That doesn't matter. Just listen to me, okay? Back in 2001, when I was in 8th grade, the moment I enjoyed most was watching a TV program named National Lawyer Debating Championship. Round after round, I was captivated by the Shanghai lawyer's performance. So a dream took root in the boy's heart, that is to be a lawyer in Shanghai. Even though I barely knew where Shanghai was or what a lawyer really did. In 2005, my college entrance exam scores placed me the 5th in the top, and I chose East China University of Political Science and Law, which is in Shanghai. So have you ever seen the Disney cartoon Zootopia? That is the next one, but not the first one. Thank you, my daughter. I invited my daughter to come here and operate the PPT for me so that she could be both the part of this TEDx. Okay? Me, on that slow green train into Shanghai, just like Judy Hopps stepping into Zootopia. So that's my story in Zootopia. 4 years later, I graduated from Ethiopia. And my parents, just like Judy's mom and dad, they wanted me home to plant carrots, which means to take the exam and try to be a civil servant. Yes, by the way, they were both local officials. They thought they could protect me if I stay home. So did I take their advice? Of course not, yes, because Officer Judy was ready for her Zootopia. I immediately applied for an internship in a law firm. 1 year later, I got my lawyer's license, maybe the youngest on Shanghai's record. Fast forward to 2011. Thanks to my strong performance during my internship, a client invited me and made me an offer, which is a full-time in-house legal counsel with a salary of $15,000 per month. That was 5 times of the salary when I was in the law firm as an internship. So should I take the offer? Of course not, because Officer Judy was hustling her husband in her Zootopia, right? 2 years later, I started my own practice as a lawyer, and I worried about money every month. And another company approached me. They wanted me to lead their entire legal department, and the salary was 700,000 RMB per year. So should I take the offer? No, of course not. That's why I'm here, right? Because Officer Judy wasn't, of course I turned it down, because Officer Judy was so loving her role in Zootopia, right? And so we fast forward to 2019, 10 years since I worked into law firm as an intern. Another incredible opportunity landed before me. A prominent family invited me to be their exclusive legal steward, and the base salary was 200 million per year, plus a bonus, 3% of their annual investment returns. So this time, should Officer Judy take the offer? No, of course not a chance, right? Because Officer Judy had already been unstoppable in her Zootopia, right? So, my dear friends, why is it so hard to be yourself? The first thing I want to share with you is never give up your dream. Because that dream, it gives you the courage to leave your parents and hometown and step onto that slow green train without any hesitation. It also gives you the direction when you don't know what to do or worry about money. It also gives you the resolve to resist the golden cages and become a bird whose feather shines with the glory of freedom. So that's my first story. 3 years ago, I started to teach my younger daughter Chinese poetry. One day she looked at me despairing, said, Dad, this poem is too hard. I can never make it. It's a poem by Du Fu named 隔夜, which is not that complicated. So this is my younger daughter, and she's doing her homework while her bird is standing on her head. Yes. And she said to me, I've read it for many times, and I understand it, but I can't just remember it, even the first line. And she cried. After her tears, I said, let's not rush. Can you just recite only the first line today? And she nodded, I can try. By that evening, she did it. And next morning, when she was getting up, I asked her, can you still remember the first line? Yes, 岁暮阴阳催短景, she replied. At lunchtime, I asked her the same question. So did the evening. For the next 3 days, I asked her repeatedly, do you still remember the first line? On the third night, she said, Dad, I've got it. Please stop asking me. I smiled to her and said, but I clearly remember just 3 days ago, you cried and told me that you could never make it. But now you can recite the first line. If you spend another 3 days, do you think you could recite only the second line? She broke into a smile. Definitely no problem, she answered. Well then, I said to her, at that pace, in just 24 days, you will be able to recite this whole poem. Oh my God, 24 days. She suddenly became very dejected. And she said to me, my sister learned it before. She only took 10 minutes. And I said to her, you were not born to compare yourself to others. You were born to be exactly who you are. Your sister did it in 10 minutes because for her, it's easy. But for you, it's not that easy. However, if you are determined to spend 24 days to accomplish something that is truly hard for you, and at last you did it, it's so cool, isn't it? Of course, my daughter didn't actually take 24 days to recite that poem. Within about a week, she had memorized. And ever since then, whenever she encounters some difficulties in her study, whenever she faces a small challenge, I only need to say one sentence to her. Do you still remember 岁暮阴阳催短景? And she responds to me with a knowing smile. And then she continues working to achieve her own goal. So, dear friends, why is it so hard to be yourself? It's so hard because we all face those moments. I can never make it. In 2015, when I was opening the CPA accounting textbook for the first time, looking at the content of the book, I felt exactly like my daughter. Oh my God, I can never make it. I can never pass the certified public accountant exam. Yes, I do want to be a better myself, but those complex terms, formulas, I thought maybe I should quit. Fortunately, I eventually managed to persuade myself to sit in front of the desk, open the book, and start listen to the first audio. In the next 3 years, in addition to dealing with my busy work and taking care of my family, I had to study for the CPA course after the children had fallen asleep. Do you know what happens when a person is extremely tired? Let me tell you, you vomit, non-stop vomiting, and you run fever over and over. That's how I spent my 3 years. 3 years later, I passed all 6 exams and obtained the qualification of CPA. Today, my team, the team I lead, provides tax planning and tax dispute resolution services for many well-known global companies. So you see, if you can win once, even if only once, you will be able to win again. If you take the first step, even if it's just a small step, you will be able to reach the end. All you need is to stop fearing and start taking action. Then break down your goals and achieve them with scientific methods and persistent effort. Right now, I invite you to recall, do you remember one of your own highlight moments? As time flies, when you become middle-aged someday, you will face many difficulties and setbacks. Please do not forget your highlight moments. Let it forever remind you you were born to be a winner. My dear friends, in my talk today, we've spoken about so many beautiful words such as achievement, dreams, highlight. Right now, looking at you, I do believe you are all outstanding students in Shanghai High School International Division. In the future, you will surely overcome all kinds of external challenges. However, what I want to share is my third story, and also the final one. It's an experience that brought me prolonged frustration and pain. It made me deeply feel how difficult it is to be yourself. If you encounter a similar experience in the future, what will you do? When I was 20 years old, I met a girl. Perhaps she, in others' eyes, she wasn't so dazzling, but she was the light of my life. At that time, she was studying at a university in Hangzhou. We met during a journey and quickly fell in love. After graduation, she moved from Hangzhou to Shanghai to be with me. We became a poor but happy couple. However, when I took her back to my hometown to meet my parents, our relationship met with fierce opposition. Perhaps you still remember my parents always want me home to plant carrots, right? But I chose to stay in my Zootopia. Now my choice of my marriage partner once again defined their wishes. leading them to feel deep worry and disappointment towards me. Today, I can still remember one night. My mother and I argued until we were both exhausted. We shed many tears, and she said to me, have you ever listened to a single suggestion we've made? Have you ever seen any child like you? And I said to her, I will bear all the responsibility independently. All I want from you is just a blessing. Just be supportive, okay? For about 1 year, my parents and I argued continuously, hurt each other, said many angry words one another. It seems that many Chinese families, parents and children can never calmly sit down and discuss matters rationally. Now, if you were me, what would you do? Should I deeply confess for my rebelliousness and end this relationship? Or should I completely disregard my parents' feeling and stop trying to persuade them? It seemed a problem far more complex. To be yourself is easy. To be yourself without hurting your parents, that's too hard. In the end, I wrote a letter to my parents, trying to persuade them once again. You can see that on the screen. Yeah, that was the letter I wrote. Dear friends, growing up is not always about dreams and achievements. Sometimes it's a painful and exhausting journey without a perfect answer. Why is it so hard to be yourself? It's hard because you have to learn how to make your mom and dad trust you. Meanwhile, you have to consider and cherish the feelings of the girl you love. You need to take not fierce, but gentle ways to resolve your life's most significant conflicts. At last, that girl, she stopped being my girlfriend. She became my wife. Yes. And today, the one who is operating my PowerPoint slide is our eldest daughter, Jessie. Thank you, Jessie. Therefore, this is my final point to share. Love yourself while caring about the fate of others. Love the world, but always be prepared to fight for what you cherish. My stories end here. I want to thank you all, because today it was not me leading you, but you leading me on a journey through my memories. In my view, truly inspiring someone is not about standing far away and telling them what to do, but walking up to them and saying, hey, I once had the same pain and fear as you, but at last I turned out just fine. This is precisely why I'm here today. Thank you.